All right, guys, it's almost the end of 2024. Gosh, it's going to be 2025 in just a few weeks. But I'm putting together my 5 favorite aquascapes that I did this year. Now, the first one that I'm pulling up, this is actually hairy scape. So for those familiar with the channel, I have a hairy puffer, my favorite fish in the fish room, and I wanted to make him a beautiful aquascape for his home. Now, I have a 20-gallon long fish tank, and I put some supernatural sand, my favorite type of sand in there. Just a natural looking, medium, I guess, grit type sand. And then I found this amazing looking driftwood that I just put in there. And then I think using these lava stones would be perfect. And guys, it did turn out perfect. You'll see in a little bit. Now I had the exact amount of stones, right? I had one large one and then 2 smaller ones that I'm going to put in here as well. And it's already starting to look good. Now, for those of you who don't know, hairy puffers, they are an ambush predator. And so they like to nestle in between rocks or hide behind wood and hide behind plants as they're hunting their prey. Now, I wanted to make sure to use super glue. Now, the super glue that I use is Gorilla Glue. And I use Gorilla Glue just to hold down this wood because it still floats. It's not waterlogged, even though I had it in the water for like months. But hardscape's done. It's just one beautiful piece of wood and a few stones. Now it's time to plant, and I'm going to use dwarf sag. Now, I think dwarf sag here grows really quickly. It's a low-tech plant, and I think it just make a really great foreground and midground plant. And so I'm planting it kind of closer to the rocks, so they're more difficult for Harry to uproot, because Harry does bury himself from time to time. The other plants I'm putting in here is jungle val towards the back, and then I wanted to add these lilies. I think these tiger lilies or tiger lotus lilies, I forgot the exact name, would look really cool as they start to turn red, just on either side of this large rock. I think it'll look really, really good. And now it's time to fill it up with water, guys. I think it's already coming together, but it is missing a few things in the back. I think there needs to be a lot more plants in the back, and so that's what I did. I have bulbitis. If you guys never heard of bulbitis, it's kind of like Java fern or Anubias, but it's a type of underwater fern. And then to the right, I'm going to add a narrow leaf Java fern. I'm going to add a couple bunches back there just to add some density of plants in the background of the tank, just to kind of bring everything together. As you can see, I added a few more jungle val just to make things interesting. And I did add some flow to this tank because puffers aren't the best swimmers, but hairy puffers are found in streams with a moderate flow. In addition to that, I'm adding these little river stones scattered throughout just as extra places for Harry to kind of nestle into. I think he's really going to love it. Now, I did add some food in his tank, so I got a few coal shrimp in there. These are just Neocaridina shrimp I have in there. And then I also added a few snails before I added Harry. Guys, this is Harry. He's still my favorite fish. I've had him for like 4 or 5 months now, but this is when I first got him. Now, I'm going to introduce him to his new home. I hope he loves it. Now, Harry it's a pretty expensive fish. This fish, at least at the time when I bought it in my location in North Carolina, it cost $120. Now, this is an obligate pescivore, which means it has to eat fish. And I think feeding it live fish on occasion will help stimulate its hunting instincts. And this is also a fish that does have teeth. And so it's going to be important to feed, if you decide to get a hairy puffer, some snails, some shrimp with its shell on. All those things will help grind down its teeth. But after a few days, I think of feeding Harry some live fish, I wanted to try some earthworms. And guys, look at the tank. The scape is looking really, really good. And it's super simple, which is what I like about it. Now, Harry's still acclimating to the tank, so he kind of hides in the back behind that big rock. But I think put in a couple earthworms and he's already getting fairly curious. There is a shrimp, I think, up there that he was trying to get. But this tank is really coming together. Not only do I think it looks beautiful, it's really simple, and I think it's an appropriate environment for Harry. He doesn't seem to be uprooting most of the plants, because a lot of them are either epiphyte type plants or plants that grow really quickly and can get a good solid root system before he decides to pull it up. But this tank, although it isn't ginormous, it has so many nooks and crannies for Harry to kind of explore in and look through, and I think it's the perfect setup for Harry to just have a forever home and really be comfortable. Now this next tank is a nano tank. This is a 3-gallon bookshelf tank, and so this is a really great scape idea if you have a narrow long tank, I think, or a really tiny tank. Now what I'm using is supernatural sands because I absolutely love the sand. It's just a natural color. The grit is perfect in my opinion. And then I'm using Soreyu stone, and as you can tell, this is my favorite stone. You'll see this stone being used in a few other scapes that I'm going to do as well. And it's just another really simple setup. Now I am going to put shrimp in here, so I do like to add some crushed coral anytime I am introducing Neocaridina shrimp. It just helps make sure that they have all the minerals they need to properly molt. But now what I have here is, I guess we can call it a triangle composition, where I have 3 stones. Starting from the left is the tallest stone, and then it tapers down to the smaller stone to the right. And so if you guys are wondering what will look good, a triangle composition is a really good type of scape to attempt to make. It's really easy, and it normally turns out pretty well. Now, the only plant I'm adding in here is Java fern, and that's it. I have so many Java ferns growing in the garage in my various tanks, and so I wanted to add a ton of Java fern. Now, I'm doing the same thing, that triangle composition, where the left side is where the bulk of the plants are, and the highest, I guess, rock and the taller plants on the left, and then everything kind of tapers down as we go to the right. Now, I am using these detail stones, these gravel stones, to not only add detail, but also hold down the Java fern as well. And guys, that's essentially it. This is another really simple scape. Now, what I ended up putting in here are some snails, some red rilly shrimp, but I also added some least killifish. Now, these are some of the smallest live bears around, but look at the scape. It turned out absolutely amazing, and guys, it is so simple to make. All right, so this next tank is actually a rescape, and this is actually a scape that I did towards the beginning of 2024. So what you're seeing now is what it looked like before I'm going to rescape it. It looked pretty good, but it was a wild jungle scape, and so I needed a helper. The first thing I'm doing is I'm taking everything out, like all the plants, all the hardscape, anything I can get out, because I want to use it all again as well. Now, this is the empty tank. Now, what I have in here, I have Kui loaches, I have some ember tetras, I have some other type of tetras, guppies, endlers. I got a ton of different fish in here. Even has some gobies. But let's talk about the scape. So whenever I reset a scape, I normally like to use the existing sand in the tank. And the main reason I like using the same sand is because there's a ton of beneficial bacteria, and that way I can jumpstart the cycle. Now, look at the hardscape. We're using my favorite stone, which is Soreyu stone, and I'm doing another triangle type composition where the left is going to be the taller stone, and then it slowly tapers as we go to the right. Now, this is slowly becoming my favorite style to make because it just looks so well, and it's just an easy type of method, I guess, formula to make any scape look great. Now, as far as kind of moving the stand, what I found is using a brush on wet sand helps, I guess, make it look better. I don't know. There is a sand scraping tool that's made out of metal. That one I think works best with dry sand, but with wet sand, a brush just works so much better. Now, I almost forgot about this, but this was during the time when I used to grow plants in my garage immersed. That means out of water. So here is dwarf hair grass that I grew in my garage. It's still in dirt. Now, we'll call it the dirty tank because a lot of my tanks are dirted. This is a semi-dirted tank where there isn't much dirt. Only where the dwarf hairgrass is where there will be dirt. And really, I grew this in my garage, and then once I had a ton of it, I just cut slices and I'm putting it all around the front because dwarf hairgrass makes a really, really great foreground plant. Now, there's going to be a ton of dirt, and so it's getting really muddy, so we are going to have to cap this dirt, and that's going to be easy. That way I can cover the whole front and the whole back with a fresh layer of sand just to give everything a more cohesive look. Now, the next plant that I'm adding is cryptocorin. Now, this is going to be another simple scape. I'm not going to use too many different types of plant. I think I only use 2 or 3 different types of plants in this scape just to keep it really, really simple. Now, this is cryptocorin. Normally, cryptocorin is going to be like a mid-ground plant, but I'm using it as a mid-ground and background plant. But I'm also using some Java fern because I just have so much Java fern growing in just about all of my tanks. I absolutely love using Java fern. It's a great plant to use, to grow. It's easy, doesn't need fertilizer, doesn't need a ton of lights. I love it. And look, guys, it's looking really good. You can see the left, there's a lot more plant density. The plants and the hardscape are taller, and then it tapers down as we go to the right. Now, I do have some Anubias in here just because I didn't know where else to put it, but the scape could have done without it potentially. But these extra detail stones just add a little bit more depth, right? So once you get the bare bones of your hardscape, you can add more scattered throughout. Now, this is the part where I'm capping the dirt of the dwarf hairgrass with some fresh new sand just to make sure the water column doesn't get all cloudy with mud. And again, I'm using the brush method just because I think it works so well. Now, whenever you have brand new sand, a lot of it like floats up. And so you can either shake that, it'll eventually fall down, or you can scoop it up with a net and get it out. But overall, I think this scape turned out amazing. Here's one of my gobies. Absolutely love seeing this guy just clean the tank. I have some X-ray tetras. There in the middle towards the back, there was an auto sinkless. Here's some of my guppies and endlers eating on a chunk of zucchini that I gave them. But guys, the scape is turning out really well. The dwarf hairgrass is starting to grow and slowly starting to spread even after just a week. All the fish seem to have more room to swim around, right? The other scape was more of a jungle scape. This one's a little bit more controlled, but with a ton of little nooks and crannies for the fish to hide in if they feel unsafe. But overall, I'm really happy with this scape, and it's incredibly simple. You have cryptocorin, Java fern, and dwarf hairgrass as the main plants. So you don't need a ton of different types of plants to have a really great scape. All right, so this next scape is actually a rescape of one of my shallow 5-gallon aquariums. Now you can see I neglected this guy. It's covered with algae. The dwarf hairgrass was overgrown. It was just hair algae was intermingled with it, so the only way to get it out would be to trim the dwarf hairgrass. Now I'm looking for another really, really simple scape, and I'm thinking like 2 large rocks like facing different directions coming out of the scape would look really good. Now I'm looking at this here, and this is exactly what I want. It's looking really good, but once I fill it up with water, it just looks underwhelming. Like, I need these 2 rocks to come further out of the water in order to have the impact and to see what's going on that I wanted for it to look like. And so I'm adding a few more rocks for its base just to elevate it out of the ground a little bit more. So to do this, I'm actually using some, I guess, buffer stone, and I remember, it's all coming back now, I actually use dragon stone as a way to elevate my Soryu stone. And I remember thinking, like, dragon stone's pretty expensive. It's a designer stone, but I am not a fan of dragon stone at all. It's some people love it, some people they have to have it in every scape. I personally do not think it looks that great, so I use it to kind of push up these stones. And look, guys, it's looking really good. Now I wanted to add, you know, a little bit more greenery. So I decided to go with pothos and then another viney plant, and I have some pixie, I think this is a pixie fern that I'm adding in there as well, that I'm trying to grow back. But I think it looks really good. It's really simple. All we have in here is dwarf hairgrass and then Soreyu stone, and that's it. Now I am adding some botanicals because I am going to add a betta fish to this 5-gallon tank. I think it'll be perfect for him just to kind of swim all around. It's right next to my desk, so I'll be able to see him all the time. I got these leaves from my backyard, and so that way, you know, I didn't have to go very far to get these botanicals or spend much money at all. But I think it's going to go a long way in making my betta feel at home. And guys, it's already looking pretty good. And I'm not sure what else I'm going to add to. Oh gosh, I remember when I had a whole shrimp army. These are my red Rilly shrimp. I'm actually going to add some red Rilly shrimp and some of these worms. So these are black worms that I'm going to add to the tank, just so whenever I add my betta, he can hunt down these black worms and he can probably pick off some of the baby shrimp that I'll add in here. But the adult shrimp will be able to clean up the tank and keep it nice and pretty, and just add some other pops of color and entertain the betta fish at the same time. When I added these shrimp, they seem to be at home already, kind of doing their job and cleaning up the tank. And guys, now it's finally time to add my betta fish. This is a plakat betta. I believe it's a female, although it could be a male since it's a short fin betta. Once I introduced him or her to the tank, I left my rice fish in there, it looks like, but they seem to be getting along. The real test is he going to munch on the shrimp or not? And overall, what I noticed is he didn't munch him, but it did like trigger his hunting instinct. So he is chasing him to an extent, but I also did see him find and hunt and eat some of the black worms that I had in here. Overall, I'm really happy with this scape, and it really looks nice next to my office. Now, this next scape is actually a rescape of the scape I just did. So I did the original scape like earlier in the year, and I did this one maybe towards the end of summer. But this is my second favorite scape out of all the ones I'm showing you here today. So I'm using some old substrate just to jumpstart the cycle, and then I am using some supernatural sand because that's my favorite sand. It just looks good, doesn't compact as easily. But I'm going for another simple yet different scape, and so I'm still using Soreyu stone because it is my favorite type of stone, especially in contrast with the color sand that I'm using. Now, I'm using exclusively Soreyu stone. I'm not using draggers and stone to help buffer or lift up some of these stones here. But what I have is one Soreyu stone kind of sticking out and up out of the tank, and then I'm using these smaller bits just to add some detail and give it some depth to make the larger stone look even larger than it is. And guys, this is all I am using for hardscape. That's it. No wood, no other type of stone either. And then we are going to only use one type of plant, and that is going to be cryptocorin. Cryptocorin is one of my favorite plants because it's so green or brown or whatever color you get, but it grows fairly slowly, and that's something that I actually like about it. It means it's a low maintenance plant that you're not going to have to trim all the time. But the pop of green against the sand, against the Soreyu stone, just looks perfect. And then, of course, we're going to have to add some viney plants. And guys, I didn't notice, but as I'm adding water, like the stone is starting to sink and settle in. I didn't notice that the first time I did the scape. Now, what I'm about to do is a good little hack. You can actually siphon out dirty water as you're filling up your tank. So in addition to making sure you don't stir up the substrate too much, you can also siphon out and clean out the tank as you are filling it up, and that way it will fill up in a much more clear manner. Now I'm adding some shrimp in here, some red Rilly shrimp, and I added some chili rasboras to the mix. Look at them go. I think there's like 8 of them in here that are swimming around, and I think this is going to be a really great combo. The chili rasboras and the red Rilly shrimp. The chili rasboras, great schooling fish, but they won't be able to munch on the baby shrimp, so the population will be able to grow. And guys, I'm really happy about how this turned out. Thanks guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and hope this provides some inspiration for you guys. See you next time.